Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Module 2, Week 2 of GIS 311. As you can see here, we're going to be talking about vector operations in this module. A vector, a point line, or polygon is one of the most common types of files and one common types of data models that are used in ArcGIS. And so here we're going to talk a little bit more about ways in which when we have points or polygons specifically, how you can do different operations to find out more information about the data that you have. And so here we have then a page dedicated to point operations, a page dedicated to the polygon operations, both of which have a lot of content, and you can look at these different processes, and they might be helpful in trying to figure out what you want to do for your final project. So pay particular attention to them. In these describing spatial patterns in other ways, more types of processes, like what do these spatial patterns end up meaning after you do these operations? And then we have this issue that comes up in geography and in GIS called the modifiable aerial unit problem. And this is a particular issue when you have polygon data because it talks about what happens if you have different polygon sizes or shapes, and how does that affect the data that you're looking at. Now, these demonstrations are links to videos, and unfortunately the links are broken right now. The original developer of the class, Dr. Fraser, she changed those recently, and these links didn't get updated. And so I'm going to be updating them as soon as possible, hopefully by the end of today or tomorrow morning at the latest, and I will definitely post an announcement whenever they're up and running, okay? But the content of this module in particular might be some things that you want to pull and look at for your final project. So let's take a look at the lab. And the lab itself is something called Vector Operations and Polygon Interpolation. And it's a quite interesting lab, because what we're doing here is this process called vector interpolation. And in this lab, what we're doing is, with this line here is the dark line, is the light rail in Tempe. And we want to see who has access to that. So we're creating a buffer around that line, and then using that to clip to census tracts and census blocks so that we have an understanding of the boundaries of the people within, or the census blocks and census tracts within that buffer. And we get something that looks like this. This is one example whenever you do the clip. Now, as you can see, some of the census tracts, or blocks in this case, are fully within the buffer. However, some of them you have like these partial areas. Here you can start to see the curve of the buffer, and you can see how some of them are just kind of partially clipped. So we need to determine the population there. And so what we're going to do is this process called vector interpolation. And so we're going to assume that the population of a given census block or census tract is even throughout that area. And so if we have then the people per area, once you get a new area, you can then calculate a new population. And if that sounds confusing, I'm sorry, it's all spelled out through here. The process is all done through here. I just wanted to give you like kind of a feeler for what you can anticipate with this, okay? So that's the lab. Logan will put up a couple examples like he did for the last one, so that you can get an idea of what he's looking for as far as what he considers to be really good labs, okay? And so I want to go back to then the modules. Now, a reminder that this week is also due your final project research question. And I've had a couple of conversations with people via email. I've had a couple of conversations with people in the discussion board. I am happy also to talk about it via Zoom if it's something you want to do. Anything I can do to help you out to kind of narrow these things down. I realize that you might be feeling like you're flying a little blind. That's okay. If you give me some ideas, I can help guide you in the right direction and kind of point you to what process you might be using that comes up a little bit later on, okay? So don't stress about that too much. As long as you put something down and give me something to work with that's spatial and that's something that can be kind of measurable, I can help guide you into a type of project that might be well within your area, all right? So I'm going to get the links fixed. If an issue comes up, let me know as far as getting things done. Where you feel you didn't have enough time, it's not your fault. It's totally it's my fault. Plus, the course I didn't realize it was going to be an issue. But hey, we'll get through it. Don't worry about that. Use the peer mentors if you need to. Talk to Logan. Talk to myself. And I want you to have a great week. So, good luck with all the vectors, and I will talk to you soon.